Now, our guest this afternoon is Sandy Newman from Marmalade. They formed in Glasgow in 1961 as the Gaylords. They changed their name to the Marmalade in 1966, and during the 60s and 70s, they scored several top 10 singles. Sandy Newman has been the band's lead vocalist and guitarist since the mid-70s. He was just 14 when he first performed in pubs and clubs, and those early gigs led him to form the group Candy Floss, who signed to CBS. And it was via that label that he met Marmalade and eventually joined the band when they had a lineup change. Sandy still leads the band today, and they'll be touring the UK starting in October. I spoke to him a couple of days ago about the tour and asked him to pick some 70s songs, and one of them is by Free. And you can hear it and Sandy after this. That's Free and All Right Now, chosen by my guest this afternoon, Sandy Newman from Marmalade. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Johnnie.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. It's a pleasure to be able to talk to you after all these years of being I have to confess to being a bit of a fan.
Now, how did you come to join Marmalade?
I'd known the boys very well because I was in a band in Scotland called the Chris McClure Section. We were signed to CBS. Hugh had been involved in replacing Junior, which was a huge big deal for Marmalade. That was the first person to leave, and as you know, Junior was a major influence in writing. Him and Dean wrote many of the tunes that were successful as self-penned material. So yeah, I was asked to get involved with Graham Knight and Alan Whitehead to do a version of Marmalade that was playing the hit records, because Dean had gone in a different path and wanted to be a basically heavy metal situation. I went in there to see how it would work out and tried it for about 6 months, and the path was about 50 years ago this November.
Now, one of the songs that you were involved with was Falling Apart at the Seams back in 1976. Did you write that one?
It was a Tony Macaulay tune, and the management at the time called me to say, Tony's coming in, I'd like to have a word. And the simple word was, Sandy, can you sing falsetto? And the answer was yes. Within about 2 weeks, I think, we recorded the track. We recorded it very late 75, and it was released early 76 and took to the charts. It was a new label. It was Target Records, which was Tony Macaulay and Roger Greenaway. They actually had the label from EMI, and it was the first hit record. So it was like a whole new ballgame. Obviously, being the singer and frontman in the Marmalade, Top of the Pops, everything that went along with it, the whole new identity was formed with serious songwriters at the back of it all. So that was a great experience for me. Went on to record many more tunes, yeah.
So, Sandy, how did you take to becoming famous on Top of the Pops and touring and all of that business?
It never phased me out because I've been playing since I was 14 years old, whilst I was at school. And then I was headhunted into a band called the Chris McClure Section, which was a big band in Scotland. So my teenage years were spent touring the country and the United Kingdom, dare I say it. And I think my first London gig was at Bag and Nails. So it wasn't something that phased me out as such.
So here is that song, Falling Apart at the Seams. That was Marmalade and Falling Apart at the Seams, featuring our guest this afternoon, Sandy Newman. So a big tour plan for October this year.
It's a nice bill, I mean, we've toured together. Everybody on the show, we've toured together in the past many times, all over the world, really, to be honest. And that's always fun. And it brings the hit songs that were Marmalade's hit songs, it brings these songs to the public. And when people come to a show like that, that's what they want to hear. It's an absolute delight to do.
Well, you don't have to carry the whole show. It's like the old days of the package shows. So you've got Herman's Hermits, Dave Berry, Spencer James and the Searchers, the Foremost, Jerry's Pacemakers. And Steve Ellis, I note, is on there. How's he doing these days?
Steve's doing great. Steve's one of the chaps, I would say. He's a great guy. I've known Steve a long time. Great performer. He always does what he does and does it so well. and he's a good guy to have around, real good fun. If anybody was of any different way in their time and life, they've certainly changed, and everybody's really quite cool with the whole deal. It's good fun.
That starts in October. I'll give the dates later on. Now, another hit for Marmalade, Talking in Your Sleep. Was that a Roger Cook song?
It was a Roger Cook, Bobby Wood song. And it was their last effort with Target Records at the suggestion of Roger Greenaway. So the Greenaway-Cook connection, there's so many songs these guys wrote together. The song came over to Roger here, Target Records. Roger Greenaway, who was then producing the Marmalade, he said to his friend in Nashville, I really like the boys to do this. So it was a big session. We recorded it in their London studios, 48-piece orchestra.
Wow.
With the best. It was fabulous, Johnny. It was an experience of my life, which is why I mentioned it. Wasn't successful. And dare I say it, the truth be that music, the genre had changed. We were told it was not Radio 1 material. This was the time when following punk and I guess, Marmalade with a song like that became unfashionable. So it never got any plays. And unfortunately for us, 6 months later, I think it was a worldwide smash for Crystal Gayle. So, yeah, I'm very proud of the song, very proud of the record. I thought it was a fantastic record, so hopefully the public will get to hear it and enjoy it.
Well, Radio 1 missed out on that one back then, but Radio 2 are going to play it. Here is Marmalade, Talking in Your Sleep. Marmalade and Talking in Your Sleep, featuring the lead vocal of our guest Sandy Newman. So, do you ever get the yearning to want to do new music, or are you happy playing the old hits?
I'm kind of getting used to the idea now of whatever age you are, there's always room for stuff,
Yeah.
My younger son is 45. He's actually in the band when we perform as Marmalade. He's in the band. He's a solo artist and a great writer. And there's always that inspiration because if I'm not marmalading or marmalizing, as I call it, occasionally I get invited to be a sidekick for my John James Newman.
Yeah.
That's a great pleasure. I don't have the world on my shoulders on that one. I just get to play with someone you can trust.
So your son is the boss, and you just...
Well, there's no boss involved. He'll turn to me and say, what do you fancy, Dad? I said, not my gig, son. It's your gig. We have fun.
Yeah, I bet you do. Well, listen, thanks for joining us this afternoon. Have a great tour with all the other guys in October. And leave us with another track. So, by a band other than Marmalade. What would you choose?
79, I think it was. We were actually in Holland. The Marmalade were in Holland. It was one of these reinvention periods where we were doing slightly more rocky music. And the management we had at the time had taken us to Holland a lot. And we were very popular with what we were doing at the time. We did a 10-day tour. We were supposed to be headlining the Paradiso in Amsterdam. It didn't really feel right, but we were going to be doing it. We got to the Paradiso, and this other band rolled up, which were supposed to be the support band. But they were completely Capitol Records executives flying about the room everywhere. Now, at the time, I didn't know any of the guys. One of the guys knew Graham Knight, who was in the band. And he said, Graham, Sandy, we have this band here. We're doing a whole worldwide tour with them. Everybody's on the road. We're doing this thing. And the band happened to be the Knack. And they said, would you mind if we swap the bill? And the guys go headline. And quite frankly, it seemed like the thing to do. So we did. We did the first part of the show. The guys went on and blew everybody away, including us. So it's a special one for me. My Sharona was the song.
Sandy, thanks a lot. And all the best to you.
Thank you, Johnny. And all the best to you, my friend. Take care.
That's the Knack and My Sharona, chosen by Sandy Newman of Marmalade. And that group, alongside Herman's Hermits, Steve Ellis, Dave Berry, The Foremost, and Jerry's Pacemakers, are all on a 60s Gold Tour. The tour starts on the 1st of October in Southend and finishes on the 29th of October in Leeds. It'll be stopping by in Llandudno, Liverpool, Darlington, Blackpool, Leicester, Birmingham, Glasgow, Perth. So do a search on the 60s Gold Tour for all information.